Well, hello and welcome to the Profit Express. I'm Tim Healy, and I'm inviting you to join me each and every Wednesday so you can be ready to win the battle for business. Hey, as always, thanks so much for being on board today. And I know you're out there, you're closing deals, you're making money, you're turning prospects into profits. So I got to make it worth your while. That's why I have on the guests that you can listen, learn, and earn from. Today's guest is no exception, I can assure you. He's been on many, many times in the past, and he's got an amazing life resume that spans mountain climbing, life wrangling, being a fitness expert to an author. He has climbed 6 of the world's 7 summits, and I've had him on numerous times throughout the years because as you and I are going out each and every day looking to win the battle for business, we know that our own belief in ourselves and our own confidence is critical. So who better to learn the lessons of believing in oneself than a life wrangling mountain climber who's been to 6 of the world's 7 summits? He's Tom Fabbri. And he has shared so many of his interesting stories, his amazing stories, his nail-biting stories as he's been on these mountaintops, near life-death experiences, because he has been forced to believe in himself when others might not have. He's been forced to follow the plan and to be confident and persistent in the face of danger. And so that is why I've chosen over the many years to have Tom Fabbri on as he shared those stories, because I know personally for me, it has been and continues to be a great source of motivation and inspiration. And I know it is for so many of my listeners as we're looking to win that battle for business each and every day. Because if you're not confident, if you're not working the plan, if you don't have faith in yourself, you're done. You know it, and I know it. Now, I'm having Tom back on today, not to share more of his stories of the 6 of the 7 summits. I'm having him on because he has a new chapter in his story. He's become an inventor and a startup. And what makes it interesting now that Tom is really in the world of being an entrepreneur, being a startup business, having invented an amazing fitness product, which I'm going to let him talk about in a minute, he now has to apply so many of his own life lessons that he learned from the mountaintop, and he has to apply them as he now is looking to win the battle for business each and every day, just like you and I. So it's a pleasure to have back on board the Profit Express, Tom Fabbri.
Tim. Can you
How are
go
you,
through
sir?
that intro again? I like listening to that.
Listen, if maybe I could do a cameo for you or something like that, or I could record your voicemail message. How about that?
Yeah, that would be great.
No, listen,
I've always loved it. I've always loved it.
Well, here's the funny thing. You and I joke about it, but I've said this in our conversations over the years. You have summited 6 of the world's 7 summits. Everest is yet on the list. I know that's one of the remaining goals. And to me, it's something that not a lot of people can relate to. But if we talk about fitness for just a moment, listen, I go back to 2012 when I first hired you as my fitness coach. Now here I am 30 pounds later. You got me into hiking and mountain climbing, and it was just this past year that I finally got over the hurdle and successfully went up and down Mount Washington. And
well, Twix wasn't very happy with me because we got you. We weaned you off of the Twix bars. Right?
I did have some bad habits back in the day. That is true, but you helped me break me of those for sure.
Especially before a workout.
Well, yeah. But hey, listen, here I am 30 pounds later, and it's now, 10 years later, thanks to you.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks.
I think thanks to you because you kept the system going, right? And the system became the habits, and now it's just a habit, and it's ingrained in you to train and take care of your health and wellness, right?
And,
It's just
and
a good
it's,
habit.
it's funny, and we're going to get to your invention, to your product, to your business in a moment. But, just in doing the intro kind of brought me back. Here I've been a sales coach for over 2 decades. And back when you and I first met, like I was a 30-pound heavier version than I am now. And you said something very profound to me. You said, "Hey, Tim, Wait, you're a sales performance coach. You get up in front of people that, at a seminar, you're one-on-one coaching. You got to look and feel your best. Your posture, everything. And I never really thought about it in that physical sense. But, the light bulb went off and I said, yeah, I really got it. And being in better physical shape, having more energy, uh, helped me in my performance as a sales coach. And, having finally gotten up and down Mount Washington, it's, my own Everest, if you will. So
Well,
it's,
well, somebody had to tell you, right? Somebody had to be open and honest and say, "Hey, this is the deal."
hmm
And um, I was that guy just because, you know, training somebody and coaching somebody, I felt that I was always all in,
sure.
and so you just have to be totally transparent. So if, like you're telling me you're in sales and you're a sales coach, okay, well, I'm a fitness coach, and because we would go through, you stand up, shoulders back, chest out, head up, good form, good posture.
Right.
And, if you're on stage or you're in front of your audience, you want to look and feel your best. Well, why are you here? Well, I'm here to lose weight, or I want to do this, that. Well, you're not there. So how come you're not there? And it's just asking the right questions and being, for me, just telling it like it is. It's not, not downgrading you, but just being open and honest so you can use the tools. Okay,
Right.
I need to
Right.
get better. How do I get better? And that's all.
Well, and it's a conversation being honest with yourself, which you're absolutely 100% spot on right with that, Tom. Now, all right, so enough about me and how you and I first met and my physical transformation. So again, we knew each other since 2012, and you are now an inventor of a really amazing fitness product. You've been awarded a patent for it. So now you're a startup. So you're entering a new chapter of this story. So let's just kind of start there, Tom. Let's talk about the product, and then what was the genesis of the product? How did the idea come to you?
Well, the genesis was a light bulb moment.
hmm
Okay, I needed a better way to climb these mountains and the challenge that I took on. And I'll give you a quick story. When I was
hmm
on Mount Rainier, where I was doing some training, and I thought looking fit was being fit, because as a natural bodybuilder, um, yeah, I thought, I'm in the gym 6, 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day. I'm looking, that arrogance, that ego, and I'm looking really good. And when I started taking on the challenges of the mountains, when I went to Rainier, I got my ass handed to me, and I was in a team, and I'm being yelled at by this woman who is behind me. We're roped in together and we're going up the
Right,
mountain. And she's like,
right,
"Move your ass. Let's go. What are you
right,
doing? You're slow," And I'm like, "What's going on?"
right.
And so, number one, it was embarrassing, right? Because she was some lawyer, mountain climber, whatever, and she's like yelling at me, and I'm embarrassed because I think I'm in good shape, but I can't even get my butt up the mountain.
And you're a bodybuilder at the time, so you thought you had this thing conquered, right?
Yeah, I'm all dialed in, right? No
Right.
problem. I can do this. Yeah. So, but that led me to reevaluate what I was doing in the gym. And so, if I wanted to take on the challenges of altitude, climbing these highest peaks around the world,
Sure.
uh, endurance, 12, 14 hours of climbing nonstop, you
Mm.
um, carrying heavy loads, 40 to 80-pound packs, pulling a sled, those types of things. I needed to reevaluate and assess what I was doing. So over time, it evolved into where I just grabbed a 45-pound Olympic bar and started pivoting with it. I jammed it into a 45-pound plate that I placed on the floor and just started doing some core twists, some shoulder moves, some leg work, and I'm like, oh shoot, I think I got something here.
Right.
So, and I think a lot of people have those moments where, hey, I have an idea here for a business. Wow, and I
Yeah, yeah.
think you have to act on these things that come to you, and I did, because I really, I'm all in when it comes to fitness, and um I'm one of these guys that I kind of walk the talk, and
Mhm.
so, and I've always believed that I would start a global health and wellness business, and that's my huge goal here, and to serve the mass community. And so I took pen to paper and started making some drawings on that light bulb moment when I thought, oh, there's a product here. There's something here,
Right.
you know? And so the the napkin drawings went to a company called Generations Beyond, and I met a gentleman there. His name was Brendan, and I'm like, "Hey, this is what I'm trying to do." And we talked and chatted, and he came up with some renderings for me. And then from the renderings, I expanded on those and had some prototypes built. And then from the prototypes, I mean, this is a long process, right? This wasn't, a couple of months. This was over a couple of years that all this took place, because I took the drawings to fabricators, and they're like, well, no, you can't do that. There's no way you can, because the base I had to have actually 3D printed. And they're like, no, you can't do this, and you can't stand the bar up, and you can't do these things. And
Totally
but
shooting you
finally,
down. Totally shooting you down.
100%, 100%. But I was like, yeah, that's BS, you know.
Right.
Um, and that's where things start to get kind of dicey when people start shooting you down. You either think, well, if they're saying no to me, I'm either on the right path or I should believe in them. Right? I mean, when people start calling you crazy and, oh, you're doing this, and then I've learned over the years that that kind of puts a chip on my shoulder, and it's fuel for the fire.
So then,
And
so
but don't.
you have the idea. So it's an experience of mountain Rainier. You get your ass kicked. So then you reevaluate how you worked out. And again, you had a career in natural bodybuilding, and you have to reevaluate. You have to pivot. It leads you to this piece of equipment that you design that you start to work out with for core fitness. And what's interesting in this story, and I want to is you're not just out there selling this piece of equipment, but the hard, arduous part, and you and I have talked, and you shared some of it with me as you've been going through this, Tom, is the napkin sketches, you know, kind of laying this out, going to a designer, the back and forth, fabricators. And you're not even at the point of prototype yet or getting it to market, and you have people trying to shoot you down already.
Right, right. And like I said, you either believe in yourself
Right.
and you say, F that guy.
Right.
I have something here that I believe is amazing, right? It's just like when I started learning to fly the helicopter, and everybody was like, "You really? You're gonna be a pilot?" And I mean, trust me,
Right.
because of my past. My past.
Right.
People were like, "Yeah, no way. What are you gonna do with that?"
Right.
And lo and behold, I mean, I just took it to a whole nother level. Um, but that's because when you start taking the steps and moving forward and believing in yourself, people will come into your life and acknowledge what you're doing and help you along the way. You just have to keep on knocking, keep on keeping on. And so it just, with the prototypes, I finally found somebody to believe in me, and it's like, oh yeah, we can do that. We'll 3D print this, and we can do this, all these things. And then the prototypes turned into, it was a 2-year process to get the patent, but I was like, damn, I don't think that'll ever happen. But you just keep on keeping on. But
Right.
then there's the other thing with the money too. Everything comes with a price.
Oh yeah.
And so
Oh yeah.
it's just it's nonstop. And so, I mean, we're at a place now where when I was on the call with you earlier today, I had to get on another call about funding. That's an ongoing conversation with, no, 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 we can't because you don't have enough sales, you don't have this. And then, oh,
Right. Right.
somebody, "Oh, okay, yeah, we can fund you, we can give you some funding." And so it's just an ongoing. In the beginning, though, it was like, how do I get funding? But you
Now,
just
Tom,
it,
let me interject there for a minute because as I mentioned, so much of your background up until just recently, is in mountain climbing, is in being a helicopter pilot, a jet pilot, and you have this idea, for this fitness equipment. You go through the patenting process, the prototype process, but what you didn't mention yet is you've never had a background really in business or being a business owner, correct?
well, you know me, we've had conversations, right? We've had
Well, I know you,
conversations
but
about
I want the listeners to make sure they get the full picture of Tom Fabbri here with no business background.
um a little bit of business, but um no college. Okay, I don't have that business acumen where I learned, the ABCs
Right.
of business per se. I didn't go to Wharton Business School.
Hmm.
Okay, but
Hmm.
I've also learned that I don't have to, but you really have to be gritty enough to push forward and be able to, uh, as you would call it, network and
Hmm.
meet
Hmm.
people and ask questions. Just keep asking questions, and
Yep.
that's what I've learned to do. And I'm not afraid to do that anymore. It's just another question, right? It's just another question. It is just like the mountain climbing. Okay, it is just like the learning to fly jets and helicopters. It is just like becoming, extremely fit to just to live your life, right?
Right.
It's all
Right.
these things you kind of. So what I'm doing now in the business world is, I journal every day about it. I write down what I need to do the night before, make the phone calls, ask the questions, do my due diligence on, you know, accounting, attorneys,
Hmm. Hmm.
ambassadors, reading contracts, writing contracts, just a lot of those things. And I think it's 9 steps of failure, and then you get one good step of in the right. Well,
Yeah.
that's how it seems to be. That's why I think 9 out of 10 people fail in business.
Right. So here's something. No, wait. Now, first of all, I don't even know if you've mentioned it, Tom, because we got right into the weeds of the details of how you took this, from an experience of failure at Mount Rainier to having the idea for the equipment. What's the name of the product? Did we
It's
mention
the
that
Total
yet?
Motion 360. Total Motion 360.
Awesome. Now, I have worked out with the prototype. I like to say I'm a pretty in fit kind of, in shape kind of guy. And I've been humbled by it. It's a tremendous product. That I will say that. And you've taken me through some workouts, and I didn't even think you went that hard on me, to be honest. And I felt it the next day. I mean, it's a total body kind of workout experience, in a new way that I'm used to. But so it's a Total Motion 360 Power Bar. Now, you said one thing in one of our, I was listening to one of our other interviews we had a couple of years back. And I just love the analogy, myself, now you, the listeners, we're out there, we're looking to win the battle for business each and every day. And each and every day, there could be a different battle that we're encountering. And So, in having listened to a previous interview, you had said something that caught my attention. And, everybody can appreciate the visual of, getting to the summit, the peak of a mountain. And you had said, don't look at the peak of the summit. Just look right down at your feet and left foot, left foot, right foot, one step after the other. And how profoundly
Hmm.
simple that really is.
Hmm. Um, well, there's something to that because if I look at the summit of Everest every day, I probably won't want to take on that challenge.
Right, right.
But if I chunk it down into small baby steps, if you want to call them baby steps,
Hmm.
then it's more manageable, right? If I want to build a $1 billion global health and wellness brand, if I look at the big picture, I'd be like, damn, there's no way I can do that. But if I just take it day by day and, make a couple of phone calls, do the workouts, meet some people, small steps along the way. And, I mean, now I have people from Finland reaching out to me, Puerto Rico, Hong Kong, um, just all over the place about my product. So, but it's interesting that you need to, because honestly, heights scare me. So if I look at the summit, it's just really going to be overwhelming.
Which is so funny.
But
Height,
if
heights,
I'm
heights scare you. You're a mountain climber. I love that, by the way.
But it's true, but I one of the reasons why I do it is, to keep growing,
Right,
okay? To overcome these fears and push myself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I'm
right.
on this journey, and yes, it scares the hell out of me, but it also helps me to grow, to build this business, to climb Everest. I need to become a certain person to do that, right?
Right, right.
And so I'm looking to grow as a person. And you know what? I'm like, you know me, I'm willing to risk everything. And not everybody's willing to do that. People like to
Mhm.
be at home, comfortable, eating potato chips and watching, Kim
Netflix, yeah.
Kardashian or whatever.
R
Yeah,
right.
and that's just not me. I'd rather be the guy that is living the dream life or living the life, but people don't understand that what you see on Instagram or something is a snapshot of like a 1 second where somebody's happy. But those people
Mhm,
that are really
mhm.
successful in their life, it's a real struggle. They're struggling. They're struggling to get up in the morning and do a early workout or early run, a weightlifting session or whatever to get, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not easy, but everybody thinks that it's easy. But then when they try it, they're like, "Oh, okay, I can do it." But they're the ones that turn around and quit, right? And I'd say most people are like that. Most people, and it's not for everybody.
No, it's
That's why
it's it's
maybe that's
it's
why they
not.
call them one percenters.
Right. It's truly not. And listen, taking that plunge into being a product inventor to being a startup is not for everybody. And listen, that's okay. But let's now kind of take the conversation into, because it's very interesting. You went from design, prototype, patent, and now it's like, okay, you have a product, the product has to get manufactured. Then there's shipping and then there's sales. So again, all these different facets, while all the while you're out having conversations with potential investors. And you're getting, it's like, it almost seems like, as you're telling the story, it's like a daily education, if you will. Where are you? Kind of describe where you are as far as production and shipping and sales.
Okay, so recently recently, I say within the past 6 months, I found a broker who did
Hmm.
some shopping for me, a manufacturing broker who that's what he does.
Right.
And I met him at an event out in San Diego, California. And he looked at my product and he's like, "Yeah, I can get those produced." And he did some shopping: Canada, Mexico, the US, Asia. And, he came in with some quotes and whatnot. And the best prices were over in Asia, obviously, you
Okay.
know. So we went to having some prototypes, more prototypes built over
Hmm.
there, and
Hmm.
then shipped here. And we looked at them and are like, okay, we need to tweak them. And so we had to set up the tooling, right? There's that process, getting all the drawings made and setting up the tooling over there in the manufacturing system. And now we're at the point where we're having more prototypes made because we had the previous ones tweaked, right?
Hmm.
Based on feedback that we were getting from personal trainers and gym owners and, on and on. And so this is going to be the final prototype, but we're in the process of setting up the final manufacturing. But during all this, we're pre selling our product as well. So and that's a whole learning curve in and of itself too. I have to hire the right people or the right company to do the pre-sales, Facebook ads,
Yep.
Instagram ads,
Yep.
those types of things. And kind of what do you call it? Building that funnel system
Yep.
of sales funnel.
I've heard that
Um,
before. Yes.
so I'm sure you have. Um, so we're actually in that phase right now, and I think you'll be interested. I mean, we're getting a lot of people, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of people, thousands, coming to the website, but we're not getting them through the funnel, so to speak, to buy, right? So we're back to
We're
redoing
lacking conversions currently.
conversions, right?
Right.
Conversions.
Okay.
Our Facebook ads were at like 6 cents per ad click, which is
Hmm.
amazing,
Hmm.
which is really, really, really good. Um, but so we're going to tweak the website and add more video content and some things. And I have a team of people that out in California we're in the throes of doing that right now. So but there is another issue that is looming, and our shipping and manufacturing is going to be delayed because we're doing it over in Asia. And there's a
Hmm.
couple things, right? The COVID pandemic, because of what's going on with shipping,
Right.
that's, people are either don't want to work or they're paid to stay home or whatever. But so the shipping is going to take extra long. But we're not the only one in that boat, right?
Of
I mean, the
course.
whole
Of course.
country is kind of in the throes of that.
Right.
But then there's the Chinese New Year. So where, they take like 2 weeks off at the end of January and go into the middle of February. So I won't get product till maybe the end of February. So I'm kind of
Okay.
disappointed about that. But it is what it is. There's a
Right.
lot of things
Right.
that are out of your control. So I'm like, okay, what's the blessing in this? There's got to be some positive side to our delay in having product shipped over. So, but it's all good though. It's like okay, opportunities to get more funding, opportunities to go to more events, um, build the relationships with our ambassadors, and I'm kind of a handshake guy where you know I I don't mind doing these Zoom calls, kind of thing, but well, this is good. I just did a podcast from New Delhi last week, which was
Ver-
great. New Delhi to Melville, New York,
awesome.
right?
Awesome.
Yeah. Um, but if I'm going to be working with somebody and they're going to be promoting me and my product and my company, and I want it to be win win.
Sure.
I've flown to Hawaii to meet people. I've flown to California. I've flown to Florida. We're going to Texas at the end of the month to meet people. And so and Friday, I'm going to Virginia, Richmond, to meet the owner of a athletic shoe company who wants to partner up with me. So, I've been on the phone with them, but I'm like, hey, I want to come down and meet you. I'm kind
Of
of that
course. Of course.
handshake kind of guy. Let's build a relationship and, do it that way. So
Now,
I've kind of learned that along the way versus, you know, an email or a text or
sure.
something. I
No, I
want to get to
agree.
know the person.
You got to go belly to belly. I listen. I'm with you on that one 100%. Um,
Yeah.
Now, listen. So you've taken us through a nice part of the journey, but I actually want to go back for a moment because, as I mentioned a little earlier, with one of the prototypes, you took me through a couple of workouts. They were humbling. They were really intense workouts. So, for the listener who is not familiar with the product yet, give us a very simple visual as to, because it's a couple of piece component. What is it, and then how does somebody use it? Whether it's somebody at home using it, or in a gym setting. So describe the product for us, Tom.
Okay. The product has a base which is 18 inches in diameter.
Hmm.
Um, the second piece of the product is a remodeled Olympic bar, which we lightened a 45-pound bar, and now
Hmm.
it's 26 pounds.
Hmm.
And one end is a ball, and the bar fits into the base, into this cup, and the bar pivots 360 degrees. I like to say it's where torque, twisting, meets linear, which is push pull. So we've incorporated um, hundreds of exercises based off of yoga moves, Pilates moves, um, landmine university moves, or powerlifting moves, if you want to call them
Hmm.
that. Um, but it's really functional fitness. The old style of training that I grew up with, and you're kind of familiar with,
Sure.
the Arnold Schwarzenegger and Frank Zane and that
Yep.
bench press squat kind of mentality is really going away. And functional fitness is really the new fitness. I mean, I gave up the gym some years ago, and
That's saying a
I'm
lot.
in. It is because you spend 35 years, almost 40 years in
Right.
the gym.
Right.
Um, and that was a good starting point for me. But the things that I want to do now with my life, continue to climb and, uh, continue on with the Adventure Grand Slam. Um, I found out that, carrying around an extra 30 pounds of muscle is not going to help me do anything. Right? So, but being more lean and fit and functional, right? Functional comes from um, where, what's it, not personal trainers, but physical therapists,
Right.
right?
Right.
They work with you on your functionality, either pre or post training,
Right.
or if you had an injury, right? And so we've been approached by physical therapists where they want to use my product in their facilities.
Well, it's becoming
So,
a lot more, apparent, a lot more a part of even what professional sports teams are using. Now, listen. Okay, I got a full confession here on the Profit Express with today's guest, Tom Fabbri. So when you first showed it to me, I'm like, okay, it's the plate, it's the bar, it's that ball joint kind of thing. And I'm like, well, how much of a, and this is honest, Tom. And I shared it. I'm like, how much of a workout? It's this bar, it's 360 full motion. Ah, come on. I'm used to lifting weights and all this. How much of a workout? Listen, I was humbled. Just as you
oh, I
got your ass
remember.
kicked on Rainier, but in a good way, in a really good way. Um, so you said
No, I'm
something.
proud. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Not getting you to, call uncle or anything like that. But I'm proud of.
Yeah,
No, I'm serious. I'm proud of just having this idea on how to get in better shape functionally
yeah,
so I can
yeah.
go out and do things in my life, right? That's I'm so it's for me it's a good moment, and that's where you can kind of look at it on the website and it may not make a lot of sense. That's why we're adding more video content. But when I put it in the hands of people, they understand it. And they're like, "Oh, damn, oh my God. Oh, and what you kind of like had that, oh my God,
I did.
like,
And listen, I'm not.
right,
We're friends. We go back, and I'm not just saying this. Once you have it in your hand, and you do I'm talking for a couple of minutes, maybe. Then you're like, okay, now I get this. Now I see why this could be a great workout. So, Tom, you've been a guest on the show for many years. It's great having you, and you've taken us through from the genesis of the idea, the design, the napkin sketches, as it were, to prototyping,
right.
patenting. Um, but in a product like this, because let's face it, there's a reality in the fitness product world, super super competitive. All right, super competitive, and a lot of dimensions to that world I don't even understand. But one thing that's so important in launching businesses, launching products, especially, I believe, are partnerships, relationships. And I think you've had some successes along that way. If you can kind of speak to that, because I think, listen, that's what a lot of business owners listening, wanting to win that battle for business, we could all love to get and would love to get certain relationships and ambassadors of our products and services. So, what can you share with us on that?
Don't be afraid to put it out there. I started putting my product out there on Instagram,
Hmm.
and I'm not a social media person, and but when people saw the product, it took some time. Don't get me wrong. At
Right.
least a year and a half to get some notice, but I have a NFL player interested. He's out on the West Coast.
Hmm.
Um, some ambassadors, a couple in Florida, and another gentleman. He's out in Iowa right now, and these guys are sort of well known in the fitness world
Sure.
and functional fitness, anyways. And so they reached out to me like, hey, let's do something together. And so that's where I started, really flying around the country and meeting these people. And it's really important to build the relationships, because if you don't, I don't think, why would you want to do business with anybody, that you're not willing to? For me, I'm willing to go the extra mile. And because number one, I believe in the product. Number two, I believe in relationship building. And to me, it doesn't matter if I'm in the cockpit of the jet or, like I said, Friday, we're driving down to Virginia. I'm going to meet the owner of a athletic shoe company, and he wants to partner up with me. How that looks, I don't know, but I'm willing to go down there and meet him. He's used
Sure.
my product and he loves it. So I'm going to go down there and have a conversation with him and
It,
move
it, it
forward.
all starts with a
And
conversation. Yep.
it really does. And these days I'm not afraid to just kind of speak my mind and speak my piece, but also but with truth and honesty and transparency and love. I mean, it's all good. I'm not trying to it's not about the money, right? If you take care of the relationship, the money will come. And I've
That's right.
believed that for a long time. I
That's right.
really do. I believe that. And you know um the money right now is, it's minimal coming in, right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not sustainable, but I believe it is coming because of the relationships and the people that believe in me and believe in the product. And we're not even really out there. So, but it's soon to come. I have that knowing. We've put in 7 years of legwork. It may take another year or two, but
You'll get
it's
there.
yeah, I will get there. When people are reaching out to me from other countries and they're really liking the product, hey, how much is it? And when can we get it? And these types of things. And these are people that are in that space, in that fitness space,
Hmm.
where they're either coaches or trainers or gym owners, those kinds of things. And I think I had somebody reach out to me who works with Peloton, and we're talking about putting technology in the handle of the bar. And so they're like, hey, we can get you in front of Peloton, the Mirror, or Tonal, and you can partner up with those folks. So those things are coming, but you just really have to have a belief in yourself, and you know, because there's a lot of nights I don't even sleep and I just wake up worried, but you just have to press on. This is it.
True,
There's no.
true. Spoken like a true entrepreneur and a true startup. Sleepless nights. Welcome to the club, pal. It's like you said, working 80 hours for yourself so you don't have to work 40 hours for somebody else. Amen. I love it. Um, Listen, there's so many stories. Your climb of Aconcagua in South America is one of my all-time favorites. We certainly don't have time to get into that. Well, I'm disappointed, but you said something that was really, really important that I want to go back to for a moment. And we just have a couple more minutes, Tom. But you said, like, listen, everybody's promoting, everybody's on Instagram, everybody's on social. And you said Instagram or any social platform is, the picture, the video is just a brief snapshot. When the lights are on, people are smiling, things look great.
Mhm.
But the other, 23 hours and 59 minutes of the day behind the scenes of the entrepreneur, of the startup, people don't always see. And it
Mhm.
reminds me of a word, grit. So when all this is, having the fun conversations with the ambassadors and getting the great news when people, embrace your product, which I know they are and they will continue, how much do you rely on your grit on this journey, Tom?
100%. I've had moments of uh, tears, and just like, when is it going to happen? When and why is this happening? And no,
Yeah.
I get a little emotional speaking about it, but grit is getting past. You know, this is not a 1 month journey or 3 months or 1 year or 3 years. These things that I do. Building a business is a lifetime event, right? And what I'm doing here is a lifetime event. Climbing the mountains and pushing myself that way. That's I've been on. It's got to be 10 years plus, anyways. It took me 12 years to become a captain at the airline, and there was moments like when, man, how am I going to make it? I just, but you just have to push on. There's no going back. So nobody's coming to rescue poor Tom if he gets upset or he starts crying. The
Exactly.
world doesn't care.
Right,
The
right.
world doesn't. It really doesn't. So you have to believe in yourself. That's I mean, me and my family. My biggest fan is Rhonda, right? She's
Yep.
my biggest promoter, and she believes in me, and I have that support here, which maybe not a lot of people have that support at home, you know. But at the end of the day, I got to go out and do the deal. I'm the one that's trying to summit the mountain. So you need to. It's hard. I wouldn't say it any other way. It's just freaking hard. But it's those hard things that make you a one percenter, right? If you want to do high, hard goals, you need grit. So I don't know what else
Amen.
to say, my friend.
I don't think you
You
have
know,
to. That's a mic drop right there, my friend. Life Wrangler. You just did it right there on grit. Um, yeah, because it can be emotional. We've all been, if you're a startup or you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to win the battle for business every day. You've had those moments where you wake up in a cold sweat. Is it payroll? Is it this? Is it production? Is it sales? Um, so listen, I've been fortunate to call you a friend and a fellow entrepreneur for many years, and you helped me reach my own heights. And I thank you for the many years that you've come on and shared your experience up at the mountaintops. Now,
up and down on Mount Washington, right?
I finally
Up
got
and
over that
down.
that hump. Jesus, you know
See,
what?
right? That's
I
grit. That's grit.
it absolutely,
That's
and you
grit.
know why? I failed 2 or 3 times because of physical, and then one time I quit. My head got in the way. This past time I said, "Listen, for my son Magnus, Magnus." I said, "I have to have this success because how can I look him in the face if he ever contemplates quitting one day? I have to have the Mount Washington story to tell him that no matter what, you can't give up." So Tom, I know
Well,
you're
we
not
know
big on
you have a
social media.
small ego.
Yeah, well, I try. But listen, I know you're not big on social media, but you're out there. You've got a great presence on Instagram. What is it? What are the handles? You tell me. How can they follow you?
Okay, at Total Motion 360,
Right.
that's my product, and at Life Wrangler.
Okay.
So,
Good stuff.
and
Worth sharing.
totalmotion360.com, totalmotion360.com,
Awesome.
and tomfabbri.com. So I'm out there. I'm out
Well,
there.
well, Tom, thank you so much for being on board, and you're winning that battle for business on the way to being a global fitness brand. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
As always, thank you,
It's a
Tom.
pleasure.
And
Thanks, Tim.
this is the Profit Express. We always have to thank those who support us, namely Corbett Public Relations, promoting and protecting businesses and brands for over 30 years. Visit my good friends at CorbettPR.com. That's CorbettPR.com. And you can follow me in the show on Instagram at The Profit Express, on Twitter at Profit_Express, and of course also on Facebook at The Profit Express page. And each and every day when you're waking up, you're doing something just a little bit different, just a little bit extra than you did the day before, because we are each one of us out there every day looking to win that battle for business. So thanks so much for being on board. Until next time.